The next most effective formation so far that I've used, I have variations one, apart from 4-3-3 variation, is 3 at the back. We'll start with the basic. There's only 3 of them in my opinion. Now again, we have used many funky formations, stuff like that. Sometimes you could be using a really funky formation and you're surprised you get win streaks, 10, 20. But I'm talking about formation that you can confidently never change and keep going with every phase. Unless, of course, you face a player who's 10 times more effective. So this is the classic 3-5-2. With 3-5-2, I prefer long ball counter because with quick counter, it's not consistent. And obviously your squad would matter. I kind of go with real life Conte system, a natural offensive fullback, a natural offensive winger with a natural fullback. Somebody who can actually come back and defend, even though Cafu's not that defensive. Again, here in a 2 DMF system, I prefer, obviously I don't have an anchorman. Ideally, anchorman, orchestrator, anchorman, box to box. And that box to box needs to have some defensive work. If you want to be a little bit more defensive, you use a CMF here. But that CMF has to be boxed. He can link up with the front and link up with the mid. Barella is perfect for that position. In terms of advanced instructions, it really depends. You have to understand your playing style and your player's ability and so on. But ideally for this one, definitely defense on Makelele. Usually I use deep line. But you have to know when to remove deep line. Sometimes cause you a lot of problems. So number one, in my opinion, 3-5-2 is the most safest in a consistent way. 3-5-2, just a classic. This one, I call it the total football. I think we used that one back in May or April when the game was out. It wasn't that effective. But recently, I think I saw someone else using it. Tero told me to try it again. So apart from the normal 3-5-2, this one is pretty effective. And that single DMF anchorman is a must. If not, orchestrator, destroyer, as long as they have highly trained defensively. Ricard in a way, from his defensive engagement to aggression, defensive awareness, and so on. It's not that high, that's why I kind of use a defense on him. And up front, like, listen, man, I prefer using somebody like Drogba here. Somebody like, I don't know, somebody a bit with physicality in a way. But the problem is when you face good opponents, you need players that you can turn quickly. This is when it comes to esport meta series we're doing. I have had streaks using Drogba most of the time, but against good players, they're not going to let you. If you cannot quickly turn and get the quick passing going, like your opponent does, you're in disadvantage. It's all about, it's kind of becomes a game of quick passing. Whoever can quick passer wins. So for this one, look, man, I like David Beckham. Otherwise, I would not use Beckham. And on this side, I used orchestrators on both sides. Usually, I would say 2 box to box so they can go up and down, but 2 orchestrators were too defensive. When I use an orchestrator here, he will drop in this area because most of you guys know the weakness of almost every 3 at the back is this triangle right here, right? This is the weakness of every 3 at the back. Well, this is not a triangle, it's a square. And everybody got different way of going into formations. Do you care too much about what the defensive weakness is? Or do you don't care about defensive weakness? You just want to maximize your offense strength. Just depends. I like orchestrator here because number one, I can, when orchestrator drops, when I lose the ball, orchestrator drops, I can send a good pass. Big long pass because most orchestrators go good passing. And if I have orchestrator here, usually I would use somebody more offensive. Now at this point, Guti's left-footed, Beckham is right-footed, somebody like Batistuta, Drogba, Van Nistelrooy, Standard Card, Haaland, etc. would be perfect. But for me, usually I start with a CMF, and that turned me into a 3-3 system, which I like. Difference between that one is that you have a little bit wider midfielders with. But you need that IMF to link up. That IMF needs to link up with these guys. I would not use classic number 10 ideally. You need somebody definitely with through passing skill and so on, as we spoke about in the previous videos. So this is my number 2 best 3 at the back formation in my the last but not least, I've tried this one. I remember when I just go, when was David Villa dropped? I remember I tried this formation when we had David Villa. I don't know how long ago that definitely was before New Year, right? Now, what's special about this one, the difference between this one and the other 2, this one more focused on attacking down the middle. You got a lot of triangles between Ricard, Mateos, Cruyff. It's all about the triangles, right? And a lot of times it's difficult. That's why I keep talking about these triangles a lot. There are matches, right? Trust me, there are matches in this setup with these particular players. When you're on the ball, they come short for quick passing, right? In a lot of games when your AI is zombie mode, I have a ball with Mateos. Everybody's just lurking. Nobody to even been able to get quick passing going on. And these games, in my opinion, are the most difficult. It's like you have to wake up your... Now, I use this formation with triple AMF, okay? I used it with triple AMF. But a lot of times you need the CMF to go up and down, because that CMF needs to pick up the ball from your two DMFs and support the two strikers. Because I have two whole players on the flank, it makes it more offensive. And this one I would say is more fun than the other two. But I prefer the 3-2-3-2-1 with the wide wingers, to be honest. One DMF, AMF, wide wingers. And this one is quick counter because it's more focused on the center. So when it comes to quick short passing, I prefer this one. So these are the best three at the back formation that I've tried in about, I don't know how many games. And I've seen a lot of people, even like people who end up with 90% plus win ratio, 70% plus win ratio, 80%. In my opinion, if your win ratio on every phase, if you play more than 100 game, and when your win ratio it's always above 70, you're doing all right. So that was it, man. Variations of 4-3-3, variations of 3 at the back, in my opinion, has been the most consistent and effective formations on eFootball. Occasionally, you get certain people using diamond, normal diamond. Like this one had the SS instead of AMF. Obviously, you just gotta drop, boom, that would be a diamond. A lot of people use 4-2-2. My highest streak came with 4-2-2 or 4-4, like pushing him here, but I played quick counter though. That was the reason I think highest win streak I got. Wasn't 20, but I think I only lost one game and drew one in 20 games.